Hello everyone. No, let me smile. Today we have a very special guest with us. He represents a life that is all about balance. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
So today we want to know about you, sir.
Basically grew up in village called Kakkaragolla. It's a small village near Davangere. We lived in a cowshed where there were no walls. My father was working in Mysore college without any salary. 3 years I spent in Bangalore. Other than that, entire life was spent in village.
So that's like the attitude which has carried you forward in life. Like you know how to live well no matter what you have. Like
Some kind of understanding that nothing belongs to me.
when you were a kid, you used to play with rats. Like you've told me this since you did not have any other form of entertainment other than.
No, we had other forms of entertainment.
When you were growing up, did you feel like you were deprived of a lot of things?
In fact, I remember drinking a glass full of milk only after my 12th standard during the depressive phase of UPSC preparation. Sometimes I used to feel that I can be shepherd, I can be a cowherd. So in Kannada, Danaka. So when things are not going well, you start dreaming about any kind of job. In the beginning, very much attached because I really wanted to be an IAS officer.
I want you to talk about your school life.
I went to Navodaya school and that was the life changing. I learned something about leadership, to go out of my comfort zone, do something. I gave me a BD,
Okay.
Ganesh BD. Right. So like this sitting and then you are just like I was licking it.
Sir, you keep tweeting about stealing things,
So only once I tweeted about stealing.
Such an ethical person. Like, so how do you justify stealing, sir?
So I feel like I should have stolen more. Like so now I don't steal anything.
How do we define what is big, what is small?
So if I want to deal with them myself, then I have to enhance my capabilities.
So would you like to give a message, to all the students watching, sir? Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, A Little More Light. Today, we have a very special guest with us. He represents a life that is all about balance. A balance between strengths and imperfections, ambition and contentment, failures and successes. He's none other than the founder and director of Insights IAS, Mr. Vinay Kumar GB. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
So, sir, how does it feel to be a guest on your podcast today? Like, this was your baby. You've dreamed about this podcast for months. Like, you don't know that sir's been planning this since months on end. And finally, like, it's here, like, a reality. So, how does it feel today?
It actually feels good at the same time, feels weird also. The reason is that so I like to be in that position where I like to know more about people, whether it is an aspirant or any stranger I'm meeting. So when I am sitting here and when you are asking me questions, it really feels weird and I don't know how it is going to end up. But you have full freedom to ask anything today.
So, sir, we got like tremendous emails, messages, comments. Like, where is Vinay, sir? Where is Vinay, sir? We want to know about sir. So, right now, we all know that you are the founder, director of Insights IAS. But like, no one knows who you are as a person, like your circumstances, your past experiences, like how they shaped you, how they molded you, how they transformed you into who you are today, and how they taking you forward towards your future. So today we want to know about you, sir, like who you are as a person and your life. So yeah, that's the whole idea of this podcast. So you just returned from your vacation to Delhi recently. So how was it, sir?
Yeah, it was a special trip. Special for the reason that we as a family, I have two kids. One is 4.5 year old and another 1.5 years old. And so both of them are learning to walk, talk, eat, first time experiences. And we didn't know how to manage them to take out to wholly different place and then we took our parents also together. For my father, it was the first flight of his lifetime, and for my wife, this was the third time. For my children, first time, and again for my in-laws, my wife's parents. So for them also it was first time experience. It was a great experience because everything was made smooth by some of my students who were posted. The trip per se as an experience very pleasant and rewarding in terms I learned. I try to learn, by visiting places and interacting with people. I learned so many things. What I learned, if you can ask, I'll answer it.
So what do you learn? So like I'm asking about this trip specifically because you tweeted, there was a tweet like some you asked people for their suggestions like where to visit in Delhi and Agra, and there was a particular tweet, I forgot by who, and he asked you to go try out this place on on the roadside or something for
Mm-hmm.
to eat something, and he said maybe it may be below your standards, so I don't think you'd want to go. But then there was a reply by you where you like, we're from the village, I'm very grounded, we are attached to our roots, and this is the first flight experience. So firstly I messaged you after reading that, like it's so great to see this humility and the complete what do you say, you're so fearless or unafraid of accepting from where you're from or your roots, and just how, let's say it's like my first flight and we're going for the first time, so you don't try to put on a show to people like, hey, you know what, this is me and this is my family, I'm going, no, this is
Mm-hmm.
us, and we're really proud of where we're from, and it's a great experience, like please like you want to learn and you want, that was really good.
So there are no like standards or anything, right? Uh, Today I can live in, literally many people don't might not believe it, but if the situation arises, I can sleep on a street also. I can completely rely on street food. I mean, whatever is available. At the same time, I'm equally comfortable now, and I used to be uncomfortable like even few months ago, to stay in like luxury hotels, have lunch or dinner in luxury hotel, all this buffet
Yeah,
and all those folks and other things. I tweeted about that also. I might
yeah,
prefer
I
to
was
eat
going to ask
two
you about
hands.
that.
It's all because of uh, roots that lie in our village backgrounds. Parents are from villages. In fact, I grew up till age 31 in village, except for education. Brief moment, like 3 years I spent in Bangalore. Other than that, entire life was spent in village. This village, again, we were not like well off, right? Within the village, we had a, I don't know if I should share these things. So I basically grew up in village called Kakargolla.
Okay.
So Kakargolla is a small village near Davangere. So it is at the heart of mm, Karnataka. It's a district. It's a kind of commercial city, known for education and all. But in this village, when we were growing up, we lived in a cowshed. Cowshed.
Yeah, you told me about
So I
this.
think it was not even half of this podcast room where there were no walls. There was no wall for kitchen. There was no wall for bathroom. Also, there is the old sari, so that was
Okay.
tied as part of the bathroom. And then I used to live with my brother and my mother. My father was working in Mysore, so he was working in a college without any salary. We had to sustain ourselves because my mother used to work in other homes and all.
So you said your father worked without a salary, is that,
Hmm.
so he never
No, that
received a
was because
salary?
he got a job where he was promised he would be given salary,
Okay.
and then what happened was, he was not given any salary because there was no grant from the government,
Okay.
and it was run by a small trust, I think, where the fees was very less. They were not able to collect fees because it was located in a small village. And I remember in back in 90s, like when uh, memory goes back to when I was like first standard.
Okay.
We directly got admitted to first standard. There was no LKG, UKG stuff and all. So I think it was 1990, right? So he used to send like 50 rupees
Okay.
once in 3 months, something like that. So that 50 rupees used to be what, we used to go to vegetable market to buy vegetables, little enough to, and most of the life was um, you know going on because the neighbors used to be kind.
Okay.
Someone would give you a small glass of milk. Someone would give you some all this chili, onion. That is how the village life is, right? There was my mother's home also, um, where some kind of problem was there. My father was not in good terms with his in-laws, so we were not allowed to visit that home. In village, these are common, among relatives. You fight a lot. So they had a small shop. So now and then I used to steal 1 rupee, 2 rupee.
Okay.
I mean, I used to go there without their knowledge. There was one mama, my mother's brother. So when he was fond of me and my brother also, we used to go there and uh, in the pretension of playing or something. So that used to
Secret.
be our savings.
Nice. So
This is a very long story. The point here is that because we grew up in such a condition, so now because life has changed, so I live in a penthouse, to be honest, like 28th, 29th floor of a posh area. But within the walls of that penthouse, our life is still like village life.
I've heard you. There was someone who came to meet you, like, in full suit and everything, down below actually, and they asked you like, why don't you shift to the other building or something? I think it's bigger. And
Hmm.
you're like, no, no. In our house, we're like, it's a complete village. The door's always open. It's a
Correct.
mini village
So
in
ours
our
is the
house.
only
Yeah,
apartment whose doors are always open.
yeah.
And the neighbor where we live, they love this fact that our door is always open, and they have a small kid, uh, again, 2-year-old girl. She comes inside, she walks with our kids, plays with our kids, and I think so. I don't know. We
So,
are we are what we are.
so like when you were growing up, did you feel like you were deprived of a lot of things? Like your friends may have had like better facilities, and it's like growing up in in such like I would say utter poverty. Would you call it utter poverty?
No, I don't call
No.
it poverty. We never saw it
Okay.
like that. Now only when you look back, it looks like
Yeah.
poverty and all. At that time, we had enough to eat, though not of good quality stuff. In fact, I remember drinking a glass full of milk only after my 12th standard.
Okay.
In nowadays school, we used to steal now and then, but
Mm.
at my home, so we didn't have that luxury and all. So, but only now, when you look back, it looks like poverty
Yeah.
and all. Maybe my parents didn't allow us to feel like that. So I remember they buying clothes and all, good uniform. Even then, we didn't have other luxuries. But I never felt we were deprived of something, because I think because my father was educated, he focused on our education, and we studied well till fifth standard, and then cleared the exam, Navodaya entrance exam,
Yeah.
went to Navodaya school, and that was the life changing. 7 years of absolute free stuff in everything, everything, like literally they gave everything free of cost. Not a single rupee was taken for 7 years, starting with hair oil, toothbrush, paste, soap, everything, except our private clothes, inner wears, and one or two pairs of clothes to wear on Sundays. Other than that, everything. So never felt like we were poor or anything. It's only now when I look back, it looks like parents really struggled a lot, and we might have struggled, but the whole village was like that. So
So you had like this attitude of contentment, like you were just happy with whatever you had. Even now we see that you're always like happy with what you have.
no, I used to feel happy, like if I get a glass of milk, feel happy about it, not worry that I didn't have it before,
Yeah.
right? I might miss it in the future or anything. So in that moment, you get something that you didn't have, and you value it. You know the value of it, and in that moment, you enjoy it, you cherish it.
That's like a really great way to live. Just live in the moment and have gratitude for whatever you're
I think
getting.
it's because of Navodaya school. They had a common standard set of routine, standard set of menu for everything. But now and then they used to surprise us. Bread. Sometimes they introduce chicken. Like in fact, I as a school leader had fought for inclusion of better, like
Yeah.
class 11th and 12th, you become like a
Same
rebel.
here.
You are aware of many more things. So when we used to get that, we used to feel really very happy about it. that something extra is getting. But we demanded more of it, of course, but uh, we never got worried or felt bad that it was not available all the time. So we knew like how to balance things. When you don't have anything, you can still live a normal dignified life. When you have everything, even then you can have a normal dignified life without bragging about it.
So that's like the attitude which has carried you forward in life. Like you know how to live well no matter what you have. Like, you know. So I think that's a
So that
great
is because
lesson.
some kind of understanding that nothing belongs to me,
Right.
right? Like, so I don't know from where it came, because somewhere I believe everything is temporary,
Yeah.
right? Anything you have again is not truly, doesn't belong to you. My father like used to talk about the land, for example. So land doesn't belong to anyone, right? So
Right.
in truest sense, it doesn't belong to anyone. So we create documents, right? And then the land doesn't belong to us, then the valuation goes up. We sell it, we buy it, we do so much drama around land and everything. So he used to tell me about these kind of things repeatedly. I think I got influenced by that. And also I remember him telling something, he told us to be good kids, just like be good to everyone. I don't want you to bring any bad name to yourself or to your parents or your family. And I don't want you to be a doctor. I don't want you to be an IAS officer. You can be anything. So I just want you to be a good human being first. So I think when parents repeatedly tell you these things, it helps you a lot. It takes lots of stress away from you, and then allows you to focus on what you like and what you want to become.
It gives you a lot of freedom. Like you've said this, he gave you
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of freedom. Like do whatever you want, but just be good. So
That is a liberating experience, right?
yes, sir.
So parents do not have any expectations except the very basic expect. It is a very liberating, because people might not believe. I felt like when during the depressive phase of UPSC preparation, sometimes I used to feel that I can be shepherd, I can be a cowherd. So in Kannada, danaka, something like that. Or I can be anything, like I can just. So when things are not going well, you start dreaming about any kind of job. I felt many times I wanted to be a bus conductor, I wanted to be a bus driver, such kind of roles. Whenever you travel, TC, for example, in train, right? Even that job is also good. So I can be that also. When in the end, when you are not getting what you wanted, I used to feel like that. So now when parents tell be a good boy, good person, and then of course this parent is not worried whether I'm conductor or driver or anything. So that allowed me to focus on my interests, like blogging and those things, experimenting with life.
Like you had no pressure over yourself to like, do this, become a doctor. So it gives you, when there's no pressure, like you become free. Like you can pursue whatever you want, and that
Correct.
really brings out the best in you. Actually,
The
just
only thing
having that
is be
freedom.
good, do
Yeah.
whatever you want. Then you are not causing any harm to anyone,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Not to yourself also, not to anyone. I think every parent should be like that.
True, sir. True. And this being a Navodin was a transformative experience for you. Like anyone who reads your Twitter profile knows, at least once in a month or once in 2 months there will be a tweet about that school. So there's a tweet where you've written that the headmaster of your previous school, he was so upset that you actually cleared the exam and his daughter, who was a topper in your class, did not, and also that you never got marks like above 20 on a 25 test. You're the last ranker in a class of 20, I guess, 18th rank out
See,
of
there were
20.
like 20 students, as
Yeah.
far as I remember. It was a small school opened by some educated youth in the village. So in Kakargoda, headmaster used to be very strict, and his daughter used to always top class 1 to class 5, as far as I remember. And there were other two guys who cleared with me the entrance exam. They used to be like rank 2, rank 3, sometimes rank 1 also. But me, out of 20, I remember like seeing my name, whenever they used to give results. It used to be in the last, like 18, 19, 20, something like this. But they never knew that I was exposed to books. Like My father had kept all his books because he didn't have space in a single room where he was living. So in the home here, like he had left. So because it was full of rodents, rats, and all kind of insects, we had to clean these books all the time. I think there was bit amount of general awareness that the school headmaster didn't know about. I think the entrance exam for Navodaya tested that part of you know our abilities. So when I cleared, like he was literally shocked. Like I remember that the school was, we had to climb some stairs. Somebody had told me, like my mother, that I had cleared. I went to school to verify it. Like he was like in disbelief. So he was not believing that I had cleared. So I remember he's cross verifying, or like I don't know how he did and all. Then like he was sad that his daughter didn't clear. I never met him after that. So I went to Navodaya school.
When you were a kid, you used to play with rats. Like you've told me this since you did not have any other form of entertainment other than like
No, we had other forms of entertainment. Like in village, the entire village is entertainment, right?
how
So
how so like
no,
for like let's
you can just get into anyone's house
okay okay
and play with their kids, and you can go wherever you want. I remember going, like kilometers together to explore things, enter others' farms, steal mango or imli. What do you
yeah
call that in English?
tamarind
Tamarind. And so I think most of the people of my age have done. Anybody from village, like for example, tamarind. We used to have a group of kids. One had to bring salt, one had to bring little sugar from his home, one had to bring jaggery. So
Gee.
and then somebody, I mean, we would
Take the stone and
yeah, hit
catapult and hit
tamarind
it.
and bring the tamarind, the ripe one, and then crush it, make that imli wala. Now it costs like 10-20 rupees
Okay.
per stick, I think. So we used to do that on our own, like so many fun stuff. But because we lived in a cow shed, and it was the abode of all kinds of rodents, so there were so many holes. We used to, I remember like they walking on our feet, and I remember like once getting bitten by it also.
Oh God.
So we used to bring stones, right, and put them in the hole. They used to go on and on and on, like there was no end to
Yeah.
the holes. And then we used to burn paper, put into them, in the hope that they will come out and run away, something like this.
So, like, now you're talking about, your village life, and it sounds so fun actually. Like, you'll have this sense of community. Today, if we see kids, parents are busy putting them to coaching, and, we get emails, my son or my daughter's in this standard, how to make them. It's so crazy, and I feel it's so toxic. Like, I think Mansa and me are always like, no, 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 let us not encourage this. Like, we as an institution also, we don't encourage people to be so obsessed with this exam. It's just, a pathway or a means to, serve society. So it actually seems like very fun, your childhood. So we tend to see it from the perspective of, oh, you missed so much, you grew up in this cowshed, and it looks sad, but I think you were really content and very happy with what you had, and you made the best use of what you had. Like, you lived your life without feeling like bad for yourself, and your parents didn't propagate that attitude too, like, let's all feel bad for
Now
ourselves
I
and
feel
wallow in
like,
self-pity.
to be honest, I feel bad for parents, especially
Yeah.
my mother. Like there was no privacy. Now right to privacy is such a big thing.
Yeah.
So absolutely there was no privacy at that time. So either me or brother had to wait when she was taking bath and all. So I think from our perspective it was difficult from childhood. We don't think at that age.
Yeah.
So you have so many village kids to play around. So you would never have felt when they were playing at that time. So now looking back, it sometimes feels. But again, surprisingly, my mother or father have never complained about it. I think they were also used to that kind of life.
Also, there's this attitude like, let's not complain about our things, let's just be, make the best of what we can do with what we have. So rather than just complaining, and
I think
it
maybe
doesn't
from
help.
parents it has come to us.
Yeah,
They never complained, I think.
yeah, just go. Actually, yeah, you always tend to go with the flow. Like, whatever's happening, let's just flow with it. And
No, I feel everything is bonus in life.
It's a really nice way to live, actually. Really nice attitude.
No, I really mean it. When I look into this podcast room and all, it's kind of a bonus. Never expected, to have chairs like this, right? Mics like this, guests and
Yeah.
hosts, and all this. What we have done, so I feel I don't take them for granted. Like they are, I own them, I want them. Not like that. They're just like part of the life. They have come because as a bonus, maybe gift from someone or something, which I don't own, right?
So I want you to talk about your school life. Like it really has impacted you in a big way. Like how did it shape you? And you've also tweeted that, when you entered JNV, so you didn't know English, and you were this rural kid, and people looked down upon you for several years. Like you were a nobody at that school until you came to your 11th standard. So how, like as kids we tend to be really, self-conscious, and if we get bullied we feel bad, but you were always like even today you're like this, no matter what people say about you, you're like, this is how I am, and I'm just gonna
No,
like be silent and deal with it and move
first two
ahead.
to 3 years of school, I felt bad actually,
Okay.
because in our village we used to be very adventurous. I used to be like a bossy kid within the groups, very spoiled in the sense, not from the parents' perspective. The village had like I was like you know
The dada of the group.
something like that.
Okay.
गाली देना लोगों को,
Hard to
use
imagine, sir. You're
expletives
so
and all.
soft and mild. It's so hard to imagine that.
No, not like that. I used to be like that. Then went to Navodaya school, but then suddenly started, preference was given to English medium kids. So they were made captains of all sports, class, school, everything. And they were given special treatment because they were able to score well in tests and everything. So class 6th and 6th it didn't affect much because we were still in the beginning, no, like we were having fun. But 7th and 8th, I think I started feeling that I didn't think, but when I saw English medium students reading books and everything, even I used to do that Kannada books, but started reading more of English books, novels. Even though I didn't understand anything, I started doing that because that special treatment was given to English medium students. I felt maybe if I learn better English, I don't know, it was not conscious, I don't remember it, but started doing that. If somebody was reading a thick book, I wanted to read that book also. In 6th 7th standard, you used to read all books by Enid Blyton. So we didn't have this Harry Potter and all at that time, I think.
Famous Five.
Famous Five and
Yeah.
all these books, right? So and then I whatever books he used to read, I would go and borrow from library and pretend reading. Would never understand anything, but I persisted with it and then started reading those books, started understanding and enjoying those books. So I started reading novels and all, English novels. Somewhere that added to personality, I don't know. People started recognizing the teachers and all that, he's a serious kid. So that was a very transformative stage. If somebody was good in something, right, I kind of wanted to be good also.
So we see this trait, sir. You don't get jealous, so you don't feel bad that someone's better than you at something.
I never felt bad
Yeah.
about them. I never felt like going ahead of them or something like that. I just wanted to be good. I just wanted to feel better, do better. So that's why I think I tweeted many times that whatever we do, it should be. I tell students also whenever they come with some problems, whatever we do, it should be to better ourselves. To equip ourselves, to empower ourselves, to enrich ourselves with skills, abilities, knowledge, qualities that people can recognize, right? So don't do it for recognition, do it for any kind of outcome, right? For results, do it to feel better.
Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
To improve yourself.
And then I think opportunities come knocking.
That's
I
actually
had an
very
interesting
great.
conversation in Delhi, like, so one student asked if you believe in luck. So I said I definitely believe in luck, in the sense that when you are kind to yourself, when you are easy uh, on yourself, when you are just going with the life, when you are treating everyone with kindness, when you don't carry any kind of hate, revenge or anything, like when it is life is very much light, you
Yeah.
feel like floating. So when you attain that kind of thing, luck favors you, right? Of course there is preparation and all, but somewhere I feel I think by being in that state of mind itself is lucky, I think. I mean,
We attract those opportunities towards ourselves
maybe,
when we behave or we think in a particular manner. I feel like opportunities will come knocking,
maybe.
and we're more receptive to them and ready to take the challenges on.
Correct.
So now, we've heard you speak about JNV so much, and it's had such a huge impact on your life. So how do you say that, how did it shape you or mold you into the person you are? And what are your takeaways from that schooling? Like, what did you learn from there? Like recently you tweeted, it was such a great community. You people used to like eat together, share things, and there were no inhibitions, or like something like, it's mine or yours. You'll just like live together as a family. So what are your takeaways from that experience, and how do you think, like, how did it shape you? Like, how did it make you who you are today?
In Navodaya school, we were put in a dormitory, and there were about in one big building there used to be four wings. In each wing, we there used to be around 20 students. So we used to like live together, right? So all the people in one wing used to be partners in everything, right? The thing is, in Navodaya school where we grew up, there was water scarcity, right? We used to get water like twice or thrice in a week, and this is something I was used to before also, so it was not odd thing for me. But for many city kids it was odd thing. They used to lock their buckets
Oh,
with water. So they used to buy buckets where they could lock with lid and everything, water.
priced
Yeah, and
commodity.
we used to steal that water, like
Oh,
and we used to share lots of water for bathing and washing clothes now and then. Once in a Sunday used to be the week when we used to wash our clothes. So we used to wash by ourselves from age 12, I think
12,
class
yeah.
6, class 6 to class 12. And we washed our clothes, and whenever we used to come to vacation, I we used to wash our own clothes. We continued that habit. And even now when I, for example, went to Delhi, I did that, right? Like, and I think that habit has continued. There we used to share our soaps, and we didn't know whose soap it was.
Oh,
Everyone's. And then if my hair oil was over, it was not like personal. They used to keep one big hair oil thing for everyone, so it was for everyone. And like paste and everything, especially food. So food is one where we used to sit together, like one plate, 4 to 5 people
oh,
eat from one
nice.
plate. And there were some kids who used to feed, very fond of each other, feed each other
Oh,
also. I didn't do that, but you used to eat from one plate. Whenever food used to be short or something, one would go and use tricks and bring more food and other things. So all this taught us. Now when I look back, at that time, no, absolutely there was no focus that ki we were learning something out of it. We didn't do anything consciously. It was part of the life. That was the life. That was the way of life. So surprisingly there was no discrimination from teacher side also, right? And if at all it was there, we didn't notice it, but among us it was there. We used to mingle together and sleep together, all like study there and sleep everyone together. So all this community kind of living, what it did was we not hating anyone,
yeah.
right? So we faced all those things in the school days, right? Any small fight, problems with students, so we got accustomed to it, got used to getting adjusted, accommodating others views and others different personalities views. So I think that became part of me. And then adventurism, like to do something new, uh, to go out of my comfort zone, do something. I think that also came from Navodaya school. And being independent, you put me anywhere in the world, I can just live.
Survive. We taught you how to
Yeah.
survive. You tweeted
And
that.
also not to get attached with people and things. So I think that also came from Navodaya school, because though we were all friends living together, uh, I think we all went out our own different ways, right, after the school. And in school also, every year the books, they were all given by the school. They didn't belong to us, right? So
Yeah.
we didn't own the things, right?
Mhm.
So somewhere we got used to not getting attached to them.
So you learn the sense of detachment. I feel like we were just discussing the other day, Mans and me. You have a sense of detachment, like to everything.
Not
Patience.
truly entirely because of nowadays school. So later experiences taught me that not to get attached with people. I sincerely believe in that. Anyone.
It's actually a very good thing. Like be detached, have no expectations from people. That's a
Hmm.
really great way to live because then your happiness or your sense of self doesn't depend on what other people think of you or you don't seek validation from them. So you're not
See,
dependent
UPSC
on them.
experience itself, like I was in the beginning very much attached because I really wanted to be an IAS officer. I strongly believed, even today I believe, I could really do wonders as an IAS officer to bring change in the society, to make, because I came from that kind of background. I always wanted to contribute because I studied from Navodaya school, totally free of cost. I felt I had this obligation to give back to society. So I thought now IAS, because we used to teach district collectors, DC, coming to school, and whenever they used to come, we used to on that day used to have special pulao. That day they used to prepare sweets. Entire school used to be clean, right? New uniforms, those things. So that had some kind of impact. So the intention was to serve the society, right? But during the preparation, what happened after like 1 or 2 or 3 year failures, when I went through all the stages that
Yeah.
aspirants go through, that. So I don't call it depression. I don't know, only people are defining what is depression. I was not into depression because I don't think I never lost sleep is something I never lost. I Every day of my life I slept minimum 6 to 8 hours every day of my existence so far. But it was kind of severe disappointment. And then I was in a relationship also, right?
Okay.
So before I married, and my wife knows about it, it's not a secret. So that also there was a breakup, and that also taught me that things are not permanent. No, I tweeted
2018.
saying that it's a transformational experience breakup.
Yes, you did because a student had come asking about how
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not
right.
able to
Yes,
focus.
yes, correct.
So,
So it is based on that experience. So then I felt, there is no point in getting attached with anything, anyone, and then just started valuing what presently I have, with me. So I think that has been very rewarding so far. Nothing is permanent, right?
yeah.
Including the relationship. If you're not performing well, we'll do away with you. Right? People feel bad about it, but what I've known is that people are also dispensable.
So I think we must be open to learning from others and always improve incrementally, like
The
learn
thing
from
is,
others
one
and
should not
improve.
get attached to anyone or anything.
Yes, sir.
They should know that there is always an expiry date for
Expiry date. I
everything.
was just thinking. Yes, sir. So, sir, you keep tweeting about stealing things.
So only once I tweeted about stealing. Yeah,
So
yeah.
many times, sir. You stole chapatis, then you stole tamarinds and fruits from orchards, and in the school also you kept stealing. So you're such an ethical person. Like you always keep telling us, be good and all. So how do you justify stealing, sir? Like,
See, now I don't steal anything.
but how do you feel about doing it? Like, do you feel guilty about doing it in the past? I mean, I understand as children, it doesn't really count as stealing, but just
Sometimes I feel like I should have stolen more. Like, so it's a fun way of having some excitement in your
living on
life.
the edge.
Yeah. So the thing is, parents never knew about it, so they didn't. That's why they didn't tell us. It was wrong.
Yeah.
If somebody had caught us and then told us this is wrong, maybe I would have stopped then and there itself. There is an interesting story if you want to
Okay.
hear.
Definitely.
I don't smoke. I
Okay.
really hate smoking, and I hate the smoke itself. The smoke that comes out of
Smell.
cigarettes and everything. So in my village, when I was fourth standard, there was this naughty young person. So who was like elder. So one of them gave me a BD,
Okay.
Ganesh BD. right? So he wanted me to try it. So I
Which
tried
full style
because
you tried,
all these
just to fit
people
into
they
the
were
crowd.
taking, they were enjoying, and I was also adventurous. Let's see. And then with one, what do you call inhalation, I was like breathless, like coughing, coughing, coughing. It was such a bad experience. And then I ran away from there. And the next day in the school, what do you call, like, peppermint type, there was this
Mouth
sweet candy kind
freshener.
of stuff.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
So it had this cigarette shape.
Oh,
It
they
was
used
like
to manufacture those cigarette
yeah,
candles. Yeah.
cigarette candies.
Yeah.
You also tasted it? No.
No, everyone used to have. They used to come in this box.
I took that, bought that, and I was like in the break in the afternoon outside the school. So like this sitting, and then just like I was licking it. So my headmaster, whose daughter used to talk,
Oh
who
yeah.
didn't like me getting into Navodaya school, saw that. And before getting into Navodaya school, saw that I was pretending like I was smoking. So he invited me to his cabin, like, hey, you come. So then I didn't know like why he's calling me. And he said, "What are you doing?" So I'm eating this peppermint. Show me how you are doing. So I
Live demonstration.
yeah, I gave him that. And then he took his stick and he hit me
Oh.
like so hard, and like I had,
Oh
what do you
my
call them
god.
in Kannada, basunde, right? So he said, never ever do that in your life again. He had already proven me that, with his all his beatings, so that experience always remained with me, and never again
Did you
tried.
smoke? Yeah.
Whenever people used to, I used to run away. My friends started doing it, and I never did that. I think similarly, whenever I now stealing again, see small things.
Yeah.
1 rupee, that to now and then, tamarind from the public tree, right? And in school, papaya from our biology teachers back at there's a papaya tree. So he never used to share. So we used to go in the midnight. Like we used to wait
Oh.
till 12 o'clock in the midnight,
Oh my god.
put towel, and then go there and steal. They were not even ripe. Also, we used to enjoy
Just the
uh,
thrill of it,
uh,
let's do something
that
fun.
unripe papaya also. Again, that was also not stealing. There was a tree and we used to just take it. Now it might look unethical and other things, but at that time it was all fun.
Yes. So you've had like a really great school life, really great childhood, and
Yeah, like school I've enjoyed really so much. And our school was located on a hill,
you're from
and there were so
JNV
many trees.
Chitradurga.
JNV Chitradurga,
Okay.
yes. I think whatever I'm telling, every nowadays school student can relate to. I'm sure even today these nowadays students are doing the same thing, whatever I'm telling.
So that's nice. And you're still in touch with your friends from JNV.
They are the only friends I have.
Oh, really nice. Like after
Mm.
all these decades.
No, 7 years you literally lived with them, no?
Yeah.
So you had such a strong bond with them, and it stays on throughout the life. Wherever you go, nowadays school students have friends for life.
And today, when they see you, sir, like today, Vinay Kumar GB, founder and director of Insights IAS, living in a penthouse and all these, external things, what do they feel about you? Like, are you the same person to them? Like, how do you all relate today? Like,
I'm the same person, but sadly, some of them don't see it that way. Some of them,
okay.
most of them are very proud, supportive even today. Few of them who are ambitious, who used to be. Sometimes I sense some jealousy, but uh, not so much of it. Still, they're all good with me, but you feel it, you sense it whenever you interact with them. The way they interact now and the way they used to interact earlier, there is some difference, but only with one or two people. But majority of them are same. We do get together and we sit on floor the way we used to nowadays school. If we have to stay for a night, we do the same thing, put all the beds on the floor and we sleep all together.
That's really nice. Like, it sounds so amazing today, like to be in touch with your friends. And they're so supportive. Like, usually, if we see when people, they grow up and they get their jobs, and people do grow apart, like, they change. So it's really nice to see that you are still bonded, like you have this really true
I
strong
don't
bond.
understand why one should change.
I think people transform as they grow, like
It's
maybe.
very strange whenever people tell me that you have. First of all, I don't see myself as achieved so much or anything. So I really don't consider myself as a successful. And even in my apartment complex, I live like a no one, nobody. And even when I come to institution, I come like a nobody. I don't come, with a sense that everything belongs to me. I own up everything. No, I don't come with that kind of sense. I just walk in. The students are sitting. I just talk to them. I don't know. It is like I don't see why people have to change. Just because you have money, it doesn't mean that you have to show it off. And of course, I like to travel in good cars and all. But the car is any luxury car I have is again is open for everyone. It's not like restricted to me alone or it's like a Maruti van for everyone.
You're talking like this, like you're very. I think that's what like people come. We see hordes of students waiting for you every single day to meet you, and I think that's the magic. Like you're so unassuming. You don't have the sense of importance. People can come just sit across you and talk to you like a friend, and I think that's what's helped you grow even today. Like people want to meet Vanessa. They want to come and talk to you and tell you not just about UPSC but all their life's problems. Like whatever they're facing, they think they think you're their friend and they can come and sit and talk to you openly. And I think that's what helps because you're so like, this is not mine. I'm nobody. Like you have this attitude, like I'm just like a normal person.
In a
So
way,
yeah.
that helps me, when you
Yeah.
talk to so many people.
Yeah.
It,
So people won't have inhibitions, like, they won't feel afraid
no,
or
I learn from them. I used to read a lot earlier. Now I don't read that much.
okay.
But whatever I'm learning every day is because of talking to students, especially.
Yes, sir.
Nowadays parents come. So many parents come, and now I see so many parents with their 10th or 12th standard kids. They also come and talk.
Oh God. Do you encourage I really want to do you encourage people in 10th and
No, no,
12th?
I don't. The
Yeah.
only thing I tell them, get into good college. I tell get into Stephens, Miranda House, right? Have a proper college life, good college life.
Yeah.
Focus on personality development. Participate in every extracurricular activity. Only in second, third year you start thinking about UPSC. Grow, I mean, develop your interest in current affairs, general awareness, read books. And whenever parents tell they want to put their children into distance education, I scold them. Scold in the sense in a
Correct
veiled
them,
way,
yeah.
right? And I've trained many people, like those who had joined for distance courses. I made them join better colleges.
So when people come to you that young, like I've always felt it, like what drives them to take up the civil services? Is it really service? Because parents are getting them and pushing them into this. Like several parents say that too. So do you ever see, like, do you see this sense of integrity in the intention to pursue this?
Not with everyone. It's very difficult to generalize or categorize.
Yeah.
You cannot see that even when you are interacting with students. Only when I'm doing mock interviews, sometimes I get the idea of it. But if a student is regular, like familiar with me through regular interactions, so then I know that they have service motivation or some other motivation.
And also, sir, like we spoke about, this bias against people who don't know English, like even in your school or even in society. I think you tweet a lot about, I don't know English. The first time you spoke English was in your interview, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah, in 2011, 2010.
Till then I hadn't spoken because in Navodaya school we were taught Hindi. I was comfortable speaking in Hindi with them than in English.
Okay.
PSC intro, it happened again in between. I used some Kannada words also,
Yeah.
and they were all accommodative. They were all liberal. They appreciated that, and they give very good marks in the interview. The best way to learn speaking is to start speaking in English. Even when I'm speaking, I'm not speaking a perfect, very good English. I know, I'm aware of that, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People will be able to understand. See, I don't know the difference. If I have to use people are able to, or people will be able to, right? They are able to understand what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
as long as it makes sense,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
can communicate what you're thinking, it's fine. I think we give a lot of weightage to appearances and optics, like how do we come across, like, speak good English? Or we think they tend to be more intelligent, like,
I
society's
tell the same thing to
perception.
students. Just don't worry about what people are going to label you as. How they are going to react when you speak something wrong. That is what started paying me off.
Yeah. And also, I just want you all to know, like, we read your comments in emails, and there were a few where they've spoken about how you spoke. So, sir actually loves it. Like, you were like, I want this criticism, I want this
If
feedback,
I'm
because
anything today, it's only
yeah,
because of feedback.
you said that, and it's helping you grow. So, and now we see that you're becoming more comfortable also.
See, we improve in
Yeah,
everything when we do something repeatedly, regularly, consistently, right?
yeah,
So we get better in that. It is all part of the
yeah,
growth, right? So I'm not like perfect. I don't want to give perfect thing. And I told people that intention of podcast is to not to portray perfect
yeah.
things, to tell them that things are imperfect. I am imperfect. My guest is imperfect. The listeners are imperfect. So we are all connected.
And also, I feel like, you're not afraid. Like, if you don't know something, you're not going to be like, oh, I'll do it when I get to the stage where I'm ready to do it. Like, let me learn and then start. You're just like, let's just start, and we'll improve on the way. So you're very, you fearless. Like, you like taking on the
So
challenges and
that is how
learning
the
while
website.
doing.
If somebody has followed our website for long term, they will know that we have experimented things. Even today we do that,
Yeah.
and then things improve, right? I think that should be the way of life. Why pretend like everything is good and then present only the good part of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So I think we have to develop that kind of thinking in everyone, that things are normal. I mean, this is normal to fail multiple times,
Yeah.
normal to not to do well in the very beginning, normal to get criticism, right? When things are not going in your favor. So when people notice that, that is the way of life, I think there won't be much pressure, stress.
True, sir. Like, we
Hmm?
need to normalize being imperfect, being ourselves, and normalize learning. Like, just learn. You don't
Exactly.
have to like be perfect and get it right the first time. Like, I remember I was always like, I
Normalize
needed.
learning, what you said, that is perfect.
So I think that's very important for anybody to, even
I'm
UPSC
not a
aspirants.
perfectionist.
Yeah, and that's a great thing, because perfectionists tend to delay and procrastinate until they feel they're ready to be perfect, and then they go and do it. Like, this was imperfect when we started. We just like took off because
Still imperfect.
yeah, and we're improving. Like, every day we're thinking of how to improve it, and because so that the larger
And we'll make
community.
mistakes also.
Yeah, yeah. Like, even me, I did not know. I did like several takes to
And
just
that is
learn.
the way of things.
Yeah.
Things can't be perfect all the time.
Yes, sir. So, sir, we've spoken about, growing up in the village, your roots, and where you came from, and your schooling. So, today, when you look back, do you think you found a balance between who you wish to be at that point in life and who you need to be or who you are today? Have you found that balance, sir? And are you satisfied with who you are today?
Yeah, like I'm more than satisfied who I am today. But if you ask me, if I had a vision about who I wanted to be when I was growing up in village, and when I was growing up in my uh, home in my village, I don't think really I had any kind of such vision. But looking back, if things hadn't happened at taken place the way they have taken place now, I would have been a shepherd, I think. See, when I was growing up in a village, what was happening? Education was luxury, and then if I didn't get into Navodaya school by passing the entrance exam in the fifth standard, I think I'm very certain that I would have been a shepherd. But the reason is it would have been very difficult to focus on education because there was no good school available, and maybe my father would have definitely tried his best to put us in good school, but apart from me and two more friends who got into Navodaya school, they are like they discontinued their education.
Oh.
So there, some of them who continued again they gave up after graduation, I think. So they are doing farm work. Recently, I went to village. I was able to recognize one of my classmate. So his name is
Oh.
Harish, and he was so pleasantly surprised that I was able to recognize him. I mean, he didn't recognize me. So because we left village like long ago, and because I moved into Navodaya school, so there was no opportunity to go back again and again. So I could recognize, and he was just a laborer in agriculture land. When you ask this question, at that time when we were growing up, when things were uh, not easily accessible, there was this lack of vision, so that was like, one day at a time kind of life. So if I'm going to have certain things for us today, so we were satisfied with that. You asked me question, are you satisfied? I was satisfied then also, and I'm more than satisfied now also. And life is very happy now.
Why would you say that you were satisfied then? So, like, if you see from today's perspective, when you look back, how did you find that satisfaction? Like,
I really remember.
contentment.
See, why I say that is that the reason is that, so we didn't complain about anything. For example, we didn't have TV in the entire village. I think there were two TVs. So we never thought we should own a TV. That the thought didn't occur. Right. We never complained. That is one reason why we were satisfied. We were satisfied because village offers you so many avenues to keep yourself busy when you were a child. So you have a gang of other children, so you go out of your home, you explore streets, you just barge into anyone's home, they just treat you as their own children. And then you have fields, small streams to go and swim, and water channels
Did you learn
here and
swimming
there.
that way by jumping into those channels?
Yeah, I'm not a
Oh,
good swimmer, but
okay.
yeah, so I remember jumping into wells. I
Okay.
think
Oh,
anybody who has grown in a village have been through these experiences. So there was no time. See, at the same time, we were not mature enough to think about life. We didn't have that maturity to think about, plan about the future, and nobody told us about the future.
okay.
The life was like a river, it was just flowing.
And you didn't have exposure, like, usually when we're kids, let's say they'll have an ambition, like, okay, now today people want to become an IAS officer, something like that. So you didn't grow up with that ambition, is it? Or
No, no, no. So parents never told me to become anything. Only nowadays school we got exposed, because there were certain English teachers who used to come and tell us you should become officer and all. But we didn't know the meaning of IAS. We didn't know the meaning of officer. So we didn't even bother to open a dictionary and see what is the meaning of it. I think it all depends on, as you said, certain exposures, certain experiences, bad experiences, where you feel like, how can we solve the problem? So then somebody tells you, this role can solve the problem, right? Then we will be able to relate and figure it out. So those kind of experiences, I mean, the life was easy, right? In like when you're in Navodaya school, though people were telling, I didn't have that ambition, to become something in life. So in fact, like, I just went and wrote CET because somebody told just go and write it, and I was getting medical seat,
yeah.
and then I didn't go for medical because nobody told you should go and get the medical.
So, sir, when you met your friend, like, from Harish, how was, what was his reaction when he saw you, when he sees you today as, Vinay Kumar GB, founder of Insights? And now you say, like, he's a laborer in an agriculture field. Like,
No, he
what
was a
was,
happy man. What I found
okay.
was he was happy. I think, like, I didn't see any kind of discomfort or embarrassment or anything. So he was, yeah, like it was like, ki we were going there to see a farm. Suddenly I recognized, I stopped, and he was having a just casual talk with three more people sitting on a this,
Yeah.
some stone like
Stone, yeah.
chair. Okay, so next to a channel. So instantly recognized and stopped and waved at him, and he came as if I was about to ask him direction for something. So he couldn't recognize. So I said, "You're Harish, right? We used to go to his home. They had a tractor also at that time. So that was the only tractor I think they had at that time. So we used to go and play in that tractor and all. So I think something happened. They lost. I think in village, what happens, the families get divided and you lose land and any assets you have. So he said, like he's just working in a agriculture land, and then he was happy that I recognized him.
So, sir, do you think that's a bad thing? Like, today, if we see, uh, if he's a farmer now, he should have had ambition to, like, move out of there and do something with his life. Like, a lot of people have that perspective, but there's also this perspective that he's happy, he's content with what he's doing, and there's nothing wrong in choosing who you want to be or where you want to be. So, how do we find the balance between, just being content with what we have and trying to do something big. Like, how do we define what is big, what is small, what is success, what is failure? Like, how do we find that balance?
It's about trying to explore the true potential of yourself, right? So sometimes we will not know what is my true potential, right? Certain experiences, it can be failure, or it can be small success, it can be some kind of good exposure, some kind of bad experience. So they will open up our mind to certain realities in life, telling us that either I can deal with them myself, or I can take the help of others. So if I want to deal with them myself, then I have to enhance my capabilities, right? So I have to take certain risks to deal with them. If I act in that moment, so a new dimension is added to my life, or I discover my own new potential,
Potential.
right? So they will add up one after another, and people call it success, because for some people money follows when they explore life like that. So they will become rich, wealth is created. In some cases they get the influence, they become more influential. So in some way they become differentiated, like compared to the rest of the society, in terms of how society sees common man and those achievers. So you distinguish yourself. At that point of time, what you need to do is that if you start chasing money intentionally, so then it becomes very difficult to manage the balance between contentment and being successful, right? Now if you're not chasing, you're just trying to focus on yourself, trying to become better person, and allow life to give yourself, give you some opportunities, and you keep exploring them with an excitement of a child, so let me try this.
Yeah.
And then some success will come to you. So if this kind of success keeps happening to you, it is more organic and sustainable, then you are contented. That you are always contented with what you have. Anything that is getting added to your life, you treat it as a bonus. I try to do that. So
Yeah.
if somebody asks me, you have good things in your life today, so I tell them everything is bonus in my life that have come my way.
But do you think, like, now, do you consider him not to be a success and yourself successful?
No,
Like,
no, no.
so is it okay? There's nothing wrong with him wanting to stay back there, right? But society would perceive it in a
No, that
different
is what.
way.
No, he might not have had those kind of
Exposure.
experiences or
Yeah.
exposure.
Yeah.
Again, there are people who don't like to take risk also, even when
Yeah.
they should be
They want to
taking.
be in this, in their comfort zone and not.
Again, there is nothing
Yeah.
wrong in that.
Yeah.
If they are choosing their life to be in that way, so I think if it is by choice, absolutely, they are also successful.
So today, sir, when you look back at your life, who you are today, is it because of all that you've been through and all that you've faced, or despite or in spite of it? Like, has it made you, or did you like make yourself, breaking down barriers and all the hardships you faced?
We are all product of our experiences, right? And also we are the product of our own decisions, the kind of decisions we took when we pursued those decisions, when we converted those decisions into actions. So then also we become what we are today. So there are both the elements are there. In my case, it's mostly experiences, and then my own craving to be a little distinct, you know, little unique. I think that I always had that kind of thinking even in school days, right? So I think maybe that might have contributed. The thing is, no one's success is the result of one individual's effort. So there is always team in the sense, not a formal team. The people, the experiences are nothing but our interactions with people most of the times. So every individual who was part of those experiences is a contributor to your and my success, right? So in that sense, so many people have contributed both through good experiences and through very bad experiences.
Okay, so
But definitely village has I mean, it has given me a unique perspective about life, in the sense that I'm totally comfortable in living in an utterly poor conditions. Even today I'm totally comfortable in living 5 or 7 star kind of lifestyle. So I can switch to either one of them instantly.
That's good. So you can adapt easily
Yes.
wherever you're put in whichever situation. So
At the same time, so the thinking right now is that why go back to that kind of situation?
yeah.
I mean, if I'm visiting certain place, I get adapted to that. When you have access to things, so you enjoy the best of the life. So that is the thinking. But at the same time, if something goes wrong, or if I go to those places, even so many people are, in villages. So I'm totally fully comfortable
So your
living there.
message to everyone, students watching, like who we get a lot of questions. Even you meet a lot of students who are quite insecure about where they come from, their background or their colleges. But through you, we learn to own it. To be proud of where we're from and to really be grounded and attached to our roots, because that's the root is what led to your growth, right? You grew from there. So would you like to give a message to all the students watching, sir?
See, those experiences are once rich repository of knowledge, right? So if one can look back into their life and start analyzing it, so every incident, every event that has taken place, it gives them a sense of identity, sense of uniqueness, sense of the grassroots level understanding of the things. If it is an UPSC aspirant who comes from rural area, they should be very proud about it. And I've seen many officers lacking the knowledge about rural areas and becoming officers, trying to solve those problems academic way, not in a realistic way. So these people actually fit into administration very well. Instead of sending them to Labasna, these officers should be sent to Gram Panchayat for 6 months.
Okay.
Put them in Gram Panchayat for 6 months, right? All the officers. So let them work in Gram Panchayat as secretary or Panchayat development officer 6 months, trying to solve every problem that is there in the village. So then they will truly become, Indian Administrative Service or, IPS or whatever officers they are going to become. Because without understanding grassroots level issues, the problems, you're not going to become a good officer, right? So
Right.
you might be a quick decision maker, or you may be very smart, intellectual, but even today the problems of villages are still unaddressed. We have so many schemes, but you go, the toilets are still not used because of water problem.
Yeah.
There is no water supply, and then there is a scheme for water supply, and then there is no electricity to supply water, and then there is scheme for electricity for every home, and then there is again no water to produce electricity or no coal to produce electricity. So the problems are interlinked. So we don't see innovative ideas, we don't see that willpower, the risk taking ability in officers, because that exposure is lacking, I think. And you have to deal with village people. If you learn to deal with village people, their uh, problems, their aspirations, their way of treating life. So if you're aware of these things, I think uh, solving problems becomes easy for you.
Right. So thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you so much. Even I enjoyed talking to you today.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, thank you.